The sun was beginning to bid farewell on the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. It was the magical moment when day met night, where a simple exchange of glances would start an unforgettable romance, leading two hearts, already weary of suffering, from pain to love forever. Meet the story of Helena and Mark, two strangers with lives marked by pain and suffering who would find in each other the chance for a fresh start. Before Helena and Mark crossed paths in the park, their lives were like separate plots, each containing its own complexity, joys, and pains. Helena, a talented 40-year-old architect, had always been immersed in the world of creation. From a young age, she harbored a passion for architecture, inspired by her father's drawings as an engineer. Her marriage to Andre, an ambitious lawyer, promised the perfect combination of stability and passion. However, over time, the demands of their careers drove them apart, and the cracks in their relationship widened. Helena's career soared, earning her recognition in the competitive world of architecture. Her days were filled with challenging projects, endless meetings, and lonely nights in her modern apartment. Andre was never home, always claiming he was working on an important case and would need to work late into the night. The lack of emotional connection in their marriage began to weigh heavily, but Helena's strength prevented her from admitting that something was missing. Until one day, Helena decided to surprise her husband by bringing dinner to him at the office. It was already late at night. Helena entered the building without difficulty, as everyone knew her, and made her way to Andre's office. Andre had a beautiful glass-walled office on the 25th floor with a breathtaking view. When Helena stepped out of the elevator on the 25th floor, she noticed that the corridors were dimly lit and the rooms were also dark. It was then that as she approached Andre's office and looked through the glass, Helena saw something that made her world collapse. Andre was passionately kissing his young 20-year-old secretary. Helena remained calm despite the tears streaming down her face and filmed the scene so that he couldn't deny it later. She left the building completely distraught, got into her car, and drove home, where she collapsed in tears until she fell asleep. The next day, Helena filed for divorce, and Andre tried to argue, until she showed him the video she had taken of him committing adultery. He couldn't believe his betrayal had been discovered and signed the papers, even trying to blame Helena, saying she worked too much, when in fact, he was the one who no longer paid attention to her. On the other hand, a few kilometers from Helena's apartment, at 45 years old, Mark was a man marked by experiences of loss and responsibility. His love for music led him to a career as a music teacher at a local school. Life was complete when he met Clara, a vibrant and passionate woman, during a concert of his favorite band. Their marriage was a dream that unfolded into two charming children, Lucas and Barbara. The family's happiness, however, was shaken when Clara was diagnosed with a devastating illness. Mark became not only a husband but also the caregiver of his wife, balancing his career and Clara's health. The cheerful notes of his life turned more melancholic, but Mark continued to be the emotional anchor of his family, facing the storms with courage and love. The battle against the illness demanded all of Mark's strength, but unfortunately, Clara passed away before he could fully comprehend the magnitude of his loss. Now, Mark faced the task of raising his children alone, guiding them through grief while trying to rebuild the pieces of his own shattered life. While Helena immersed herself in her career, Mark navigated life as a single father, trying to balance the demands of school and lonely nights with the absence of the music that once filled his home. Their paths, until then parallel, were about to intertwine. One day, in a tranquil park, Helena sought refuge in nature to escape the weight of an exhausting week. Mark, on the other hand, tried to offer his children an afternoon of leisure, hoping to alleviate the pain they felt from their mother's absence. The sun began to bid farewell on the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. It was the magical moment when day met night. It was in this serene setting that their gazes crossed for the first time, and the seed of a unique story began to sprout. In that first exchange of glances, they had a connection as if they knew that their life stories had striking similarities. Both had known love and loss, and the scars of the past shaped their souls in profound ways. Helena, divorced after a marriage that unraveled like a house of cards, carried the weight of difficult choices. Mark, on the other hand, lost his wife to a relentless illness, experiencing the pain of longing and the responsibility of raising his two children alone. Their friendship began subtly. They exchanged smiles, shared a bench in the park, and started conversations that flowed smoothly, as if the universe was conspiring to unite them. Helena noticed in Mark's story a resilience that inspired her, while Mark found in Helena a silent understanding that soothed his soul. The narratives of their lives began to intertwine, and the friendship grew like a delicate flower. Helena offered a listening ear for Mark's battles as a single father, while he, in turn, shared Helena's silent struggles to find meaning in a life that, despite seeming successful, lacked emotional vitality. As the friendship deepened, Helena and Mark became confidants, supporting each other amidst their own journeys. Helena found in Mark a source of strength and emotional stability that was lacking in her life, while Mark discovered in Helena the spark of passion and joy that loss had extinguished. The meetings in the park became regular events, and the closeness between them began to transcend friendship. The attraction that blossomed between Helena and Mark was undeniable, but both hesitated to cross the line that separated friendship from passion. It was as if they feared upsetting the delicate dance they had built. It was on a starry night that Mark decided to express his feelings. With the moon as a silent witness, he confided in Helena how their friendship had transformed her, bringing light to the shadows that hung over her life. Helena, moved, shared how Mark had become the safe harbor she didn't know she needed. They kissed passionately. Their bodies trembled as if they were two teenagers discovering passion, and the nervousness gradually gave way to love and desire, something they hadn't experienced in some time. Their story, which began with exchanged glances in a tranquil park, evolved into a new and exciting chapter. Helena and Mark learned that together, they could build a love story where the pages of the past were not forgotten but transformed into solid foundations for a promising future. Friends who knew the pains and traumas they both carried witnessed the incredible transformation that love brought to their lives. Helena and Mark's story became an inspiration, a reminder that it is possible to find happiness again, even after the deepest scars. Thus, As they walked side by side into the unknown, Helena and Mark realized that life, even with its twists and turns, had a magical way of weaving the destinies of lonely souls, uniting them in a delicate and intricate fabric of love, understanding, and hope. If you like the story, I'm sure that one of the videos that is here on the screen will move you too. But before you click, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our next videos. A big hug and see you in the next story.